I always think these are fun. I think these up in my head and then I like just throw it against the wall and see how this all works out. Okay, so starting with feet together, and you're just doing these big side lunges, drop the chest, come all the way up, balance, and reach the arms over the head. So there's kind of this weird balancey stretch. And you're not gonna get a ton of mobility out of it. It's more just this like balancey challenge. So from the side, it looks like this. You're going left lunge, balance on the right foot, take the arms over the head and try to reach up and over. Go through 6 of those. And it should feel like you can just move through it all really slowly. The idea is to just get some movement in the joints, warm up the legs. So with this mobility class, the goal is that we're always trying to move your body in like ranges of motion that you don't normally hit with running, with the idea being that if you can strengthen all those other angles, you'll continue to get stronger at the, basically single angle that you need for running. Same thing on the other side. Whenever you're ready to switch, big arch up and over. If you take your eyes up to the ceiling, your chin will follow, your clavicle will follow, hopefully your shoulders follow, and then you can just create this like big arch in the back. If the arms lead, we talk about drivers. For this movement, your fingertips and your eyes are your drivers, because they're what's like leading the movement. It's easier to think about sending your fingertips back behind you rather than to think about arching the back. Eyes and fingertips are easy things to think about moving through space. Arching the back is a little bit harder. 6-ish of those, if they feel good, you can keep going through them. All right, so then you're gonna go back to that right foot because that's what we were balancing on first. This time when you lean, you're gonna lean over to the side, which is this like weird limited range of motion. Balance up on that right foot and lean over with that left arm reaching overhead. So I'm landing on the left foot, but I'm reaching my right arm overhead. I'm balancing on my right foot, reaching my left arm overhead. Did I say that the right way? Big lean, balance, lean. So again, limited range of motion because you're in this weird balancy position, which is good. We're just starting with this like little tilt side to side, little arch back, little rotation. Go through 6 of those. I've been picking 6 as our rep count a lot lately. Whenever you're ready, you just switch. Super easy change. You'll lunge right and lean right. You'll balance on the left leg and lean left. So we call this your common direction lean. So if you're on that right leg, where most of your weight is, you're leaning right. You're on that left leg, you're leaning left. So it's that common direction for this frontal plane. If anybody really cares about any of those details. 6-ish of those. This should feel good. It like opens up all the space between the rib cages. Well, you just have one rib cage. Between the ribs, rather. All right, 6 of those. Then we're gonna go back to balancing on that right foot. Now you're gonna lunge left, and I'm gonna lead with that right arm and try to twist around as far as I can. Come back up to balance, and then twist right. So I'm lunging left, twisting left, balancing right, twisting right. And see if you can not do what I'm doing, which is like using I kind of like use that left foot to kind of help get me up onto that right foot. See if you can just get just the right amount of momentum from that left leg to push you up to balance on the right leg. Enough to get you up there, but not to like topple you over. It's the goal. It's easy to push too hard. It's trying to figure, it's like putting a golf ball into a hole. So you can figure out just the right amount of, I have never compared anything workout-wise to golf. So everybody remember this moment. All right, same thing on the other side, lunge right, twist right, balance left, twist left. And remember what's responsible for rotating you are the obliques. They're your pullers. They're basically everything like wraps around here. So if I want to twist left, these guys are gonna pull me left. So think about like pulling that left shoulder around rather than pushing the right shoulder forward. With rotations, think about pulling rather than pushing. I don't know if we've done 100 of these. I lose count. I talk too much. Very talkative today. 6 of those. All right. And then we're gonna go into hamstring stuff. So left foot in front, whenever you're ready, right foot back, Fingertips are gonna be down on the ground. We're going through 3 things on the left side. So if you're like, wait a second, am I supposed to switch? Don't worry about it. You're not switching yet. So left foot is in front. Try to drive that right knee down to the ground, and then do whatever you can to get that left leg as straight as you can. Go through 10 of those slowly. And if you can't get the fingertips on the ground, you can always just do fingertips up on the knee. You can just do arms hanging in the air. You can touch down on the ground. It probably actually makes it a little bit easier. So we're just trying to get this like constant movement and stretch in that left hamstring. So you're going through 10 of these. And then we're gonna do this kind of funky step. So your left foot is still in front after you've done 10 of these. You're gonna walk the hands forward, pick up the right foot, and come all the way up onto like the tippy toes. Walk the hands back, flex the left foot, try to get the toes to point up to the ceiling. Go through 5 of these. So walk forward, up on the toes, walk the hands back, flex the foot, toes are up. So it should be like this massive stretch in the back of the leg. 5 of these. Pull the toes back to that tibialis. Balance up on the toes. Walk the hands back. 5 should feel like plenty. And remember, I told you we're doing 3 different things, so prepare for one more thing. And we're always trying to work on strengthening the body to come back to neutral, so that's what we're gonna do here. So you still have that left leg in front. Tap the back knee down, and then with as little help from that back leg as you can, come up onto that left leg and stand all the way up. Doesn't really matter how high that knee comes up, that's just like bonus points. But you have a vertical spine. Then bring that foot back down. See if you can get like the knee and the foot to land at the same time. You can either have that foot tucked under, so you're using a little bit of that push, or you can have a flat foot where the top of the foot is on the ground, and you then have like no help from that right leg. All right, go through 10 of these super slowly. So we're just trying, today's like all about endurance for whatever we're stretching. So it should feel like high numbers, like a lot of stuff on one side before we switch sides. We're just trying to get that body to continue to work in really good form, even when we fatigued it. So those first 2 exercises were basically just to like, it would be the equivalent of like running sprints up a hill and then running a tempo workout. So it's just this exercise being the tempo workout. Those 2 exercises are just designed to just create fatigue in the leg. It just simulates this like totally exhausted leg because it wasn't really given a chance to take a break. And now we're asking it to move really smoothly in this pattern that we use for running. So go through 10 of those, using that right leg as little as possible. I don't have Jason here with me to count. Maybe that's why I'm talking so much, because normally he'd be here to chime in. And unlucky for you, now we're gonna do like 20 of something. He's always my counter. All right, let's do one more, we'll call that good. All right, same 3 things on the other side. Cool. So right foot now is rooted down. Left foot is back. I call this like your sprinter's lunge because it looks like you're about to like fire off the block. So right foot is down, hands are down, left knee goes down, hips go up. And this should just be slow and controlled. We're trying to get the hamstring to just like get used to a lot of movement. Imagine it's essentially a rubber band and we're just trying to like stretch it out and let it know it's about to do a lot of work. Knee down, hips up. You should feel like you can get the hips a little higher with each one of these. 10 total. And then go through 5 of those weird little like crawl forward. Come up onto that right toe. Crawl the hands back. Big over-exaggerated flexed foot. Try to pull the toes back to that shin. And you should feel a big stretch in the calf. Go through 5 of these. Just basically as much range of motion as you can get. So right now that leg is basically just staying in the exact same position. If you think about it, the knee doesn't really know any different. The weight is shifting on where it's holding, but essentially the knee is holding that exact same angle All right, 5 of those. Surely we've done 5 of those. Then if you can, lay that foot flat. The top of the foot is down, so I can not use it at all to help me out. Push off that right leg. Come all the way up to neutral. Neutral is vertical spine, shoulders even, hips even, and shoulders stacked over the hips. So see if you can keep landing with that top of the foot down. It's a lot easier if you can do the toes. So if you're like, hey, this is too rough, you can always go toe lands, then knee comes next. Knee comes off, foot helps you come up. If you feel like making it harder, land on the top of that foot. You could even try to make the knee and the foot leave at the same time. So you're really getting no help. You're basically just treating that left leg like a dead leg. 10 of those. That leg should start to get tired. We're actually going to go through this again, but more for the outside of the hip, less for the hamstring. So prepare yourselves. Not before we do a bunch of plank arm reaches though, so you'll be good. All right, so once you're done with those 10, we'll go feet together, chin to the chest, roll down slowly, and walk the hands out. So we'll go through these kind of quick because they're just designed to basically give the legs a break. They're just like a distraction. Without any movement in my body, just isolating the movement to the shoulder sockets, just reach the right arm up, left arm up, right arm up, left arm up. So go through 10 of those, 5 on each side. So not too many. Then we're going to do the same thing, 10, 5 on each side, but now you're reaching the opposite direction and adding movement in the body. So my right hand comes to my right ankle, left hand comes to the left ankle. 5 on each side, 10 total. So we're going to keep alternating between body doesn't move, but arms move, and everything moves together. So 10 of those. Then you're back to the body doesn't get to move, just arms. Now you're reaching out to the side. Right arm reaches wide, left arm reaches wide. Right arm wide, left arm wide. So 10 of those, 5 on each side. Then we're gonna go back to those hip pikes, but now my right arm is gonna reach between the knees. So I'm reaching higher, come back to neutral, left arm reaches between the knees. That makes sense. 5 on each side. Reach, return. Try to get as much movement in the shoulders as you can. So this shoulder is getting a lot of movement. 10 total, 5 on each side. All right, and then last variation where the body stays still, but the arms move. You're gonna reach the arm up to the ceiling by sweeping that thumb right by the hip. It's like the second half of a swim stroke, of a freestyle swim stroke to be specific. 5 on each side, 10 total. Try to keep the body from moving. It's so easy to want to just like stack the hips and have a rotation. It's harder to think about pushing more weight into one foot. 5 on each side, 10 total. Then last time with the reaches. So this time, right fingertips are going to the outside of the left ankle. Left fingertips are going to the outside of the right ankle. So now that shoulder that's staying behind has to also take this big rotation so that you can reach through. 5 on each side. Alternating. So legs got a big break here. Arms got a little bit of endurance. This is endurance mobility. All right, when you're done there, back to the back of the legs. So very similar to what we did earlier, 3 things on the left and 3 things on the right. The only difference is where we're gonna plant the back leg. So let's start with the left leg first, because that's what we did last time. Rather than sending the right leg straight back behind you, now just tuck it a little. So from the front, I'm here, I'm in this like weird twisted position. Fingertips are down to the ground, back knee goes to the ground, and then I'm trying to straighten out that front leg as much as possible. 10 of these. Don't force anything if it feels like, wow, it does not feel good to straighten out that leg. Just hit that bottom half range of motion. This is demanding a lot on the knee because it's making this pull, right? All of this is connected. And it's easy for this knee to move up and down when this hip is straight. As soon as we twist it, it's now basically just being pulled and has less range of motion. All right, so 10 of those. For those weird, like crawl your hands forward steps, you're going out to the right side and then walking the hands back and going into this big, like roll to the outside edge of that foot. So you're stepping wide, go to the inside, and then you're stepping back and you're going to the outside edge. Go through 5 of those on each side. 5 of those on this side, sorry. You have 3 things to do on this leg. So the last one, I'm sure you could guess, you're gonna keep that leg tucked, tap the back knee down, and come up out of that into neutral. So again, shoulders even, hips even, shoulders stacked over the hips. If you cannot use that, the ball of the foot to help you get up and instead keep the top of the foot down, go for it. It's gonna be a little harder just balance-wise, but otherwise, the leg is doing the same thing. Go through 10 of those slowly. We got a lot of these. We'll do the same thing on the other side, and then we'll do abs, and then you're done. So there wasn't a lot of stuff that we did, but we tried to just do a lot for one body part, and then move on. So we basically just did like a ton for spinal mobility first in all directions. Then we wore out the hamstring. Then we did a ton of shoulder work and plank, and now we're doing a ton for the outside hip. So 10 of those. Just start to feel that fatigue in the leg a little bit. It's not used to maybe getting off the ground that often in that weird direction. 10 of those, guys, and then we'll switch sides. So right foot will be rooted down, left leg tucked, so you should feel like this hip is already being kind of like just twisted a little bit. Hands down, and we're just doing those 10 slow stretch moves. If you're behind, you could do like 5 or 6 of these. You don't necessarily have to go through 10. If you're ahead of us, you can do like 12 of these. I make it sound like the count is so important. It's not. 10-ish. You should feel good. It's just like a big stretch in a way that you don't normally stretch out the hamstring. And then we'll do that like manipulation where we're going to the inside arch and then the outside edge. 5 of those are kind of funky. You just walk the hands over to the left diagonal and roll over onto that arch. Walk the hands back, roll onto that outside edge. So each time that foot is coming up, the whole bottom of it is coming up off the ground. 5 of those. I start talking less as I get tired. You gotta fake it. I'm talking about something. All right, when you're done with those 5, just like you've been doing earlier, if you can, make that foot flat. Trust that this leg can get you up off the ground. You can use the hands a little bit to stabilize, but then release. Come back down. See if you get the foot and the knee to land at the same time, which I did not just do. It really takes pulling with that hamstring, like aim for the knee to go down first, and then the foot will go down at about the same time. 10 of these. Nice job, guys. These are hard. Super smooth. Think about just connecting one thing to the next. So it shouldn't be like hamstring, then quad, then back take over. It's just like one goes to the next. The hamstring fires until it can't really anymore, but the next muscle takes over to pull you up. It's really pretty crazy if you could see all the things that have to happen just to get you to stand up. They actually make, a friend of mine, Brent, used to have these pants with like sensors on them, and he could work out and like see what all was firing. It was very interesting. It was very geeky, but it was very interesting. Okay, now you get to lay down. That's the good news. Yay. Okay, so we're gonna do a ton of lower ab stuff because we're working on endurance and fatigue. So hands go under the hips, chin go to the chest, and you're gonna do 10 of these where the legs are together. And think about pushing the lower back into the ground. And then you're gonna do 10 alternating where the feet are apart, just like little flutter kicks. From there, you'll do 10 sit-ups and 10 V-ups. So fingertips up to the ceiling, 10 sit-ups. So you're coming up to that perfect vertical spine, shoulders stacked over the hips. Exhale up, control down. 10. We're gonna go through 3 rounds of this. So as soon as you get through that first one, I'll let you know so you can kind of prepare for what all there is. This should feel like more upper abs. All right, and then 10 V-ups. So arms are gonna go above the head, and you're gonna swing everything to come up to a tuck. Everything goes flat, everything comes up to a tuck. 10. Think about when you're breathing. It's important. It's a huge part of how we function. So it's better to think, how can I use my breath to work for me, not against me? It's like in the military, they make them count. They probably do it for other reasons, but I do know that they make them count during the exertion so that they're all making sure to take these like big deep breaths. So on this, you breathe out on the up. Try doing the opposite. It should feel very weird. So you're not paying attention to it. It's worth paying attention to. Okay, when you're done with those, we'll go through that. That's your first round. We're doing 3 of those, and then you're done. So hands under the hips, chin to the chest, feet together. This time you're doing these little like side to side slides. Hard to say. 10 each way. Upper half of the body is staying still. Lower half of the body is just shifting side to side. 10 each way. And then separating the legs but doing that same movement. Like scissor kicks. I don't know what you call these. 10. All in that frontal plane. So it's like that jumping jack plane. And then, just like last time, 10 sit-ups. Fingertips up to the ceiling. Exhale. Sit up. Inhale, roll back down. So think about taking one vertebrae at a time off the ground and then putting one vertebrae at a time back onto the ground. So it's less of this like flat back up and it's more of this like slow, controlled roll up. 10. And then, so Alex should be tired by now. You're like about halfway through. And then you'll go through 10 of those V-ups. So that's a much bigger, powerful movement where lower abs are involved. Arms of the head, exhale, tuck, balance on the hips, extend, everything rolls out. Exhale, tuck, extend. Go through 10 of those. All right, go through one more round, then you're done. All right, last variation. Hands are gonna go under the hips, chin to the chest, feet together, like you're drawing a circle. You're gonna do 5 clockwise, then 5 counter. Doesn't matter which one you start with. 5 one direction, 5 the other direction. One time I was telling people to do something in one direction and my phone heard and thought I was asking for it to play One Direction. Is that a band? I think so. And then corkscrews, one leg on top, one on bottom. And it started playing this boy band. Our phones are always listening. 10 of each of those, so 20 total. And then the last round of sit-ups and V-ups. Then you're done. Fingertips up to the ceiling. Exhale, sit up, all the way up, control, roll back down whenever you're ready. 10. Nice job, almost done. You guys should be proud of yourselves for fitting this in. 1, it's hot outside. 2, it's either like the time that your kids are getting home from school or the time that you'd rather be eating dinner. You should be proud of yourselves. Next Wednesday, I'm going to be up in Bend, and Allison Maxis will be, I'm going to make her do this with me. So we'll have a special guest. All right, and then final thing, arms above the head. Exhale, tuck the knees. Extend the legs, arms overhead. Exhale, tuck the knees. Extend back out. Big, big, big movement. Nice job. Don't worry, we'll stretch for like 1 minute after the abs did all the work. Nice job. Roll over, hips low, arch the back, chin up, eyes up. Take a big breath in and bring the hips back to the heels. So you're down into this like child's pose position. Leaving one knee down, step 1 foot out wide and just stretch and then switch. Go back to child's pose, 1 foot out wide, big stretch. So do that twice on each side. Big step. And then walk the hands back to the feet slowly. With the feet down, alternate one arm reaches up and wide, almost like you're trying to get the palm to face up towards the ceiling, and then switch. Do that 2 times each side. That should just feel like a big stretch for the back. Last one. Roll up super slowly, so head's the last thing to come up. Last stretch, big split stance. Think about, we're trying to stretch the front of this hip. So you're just gonna like lean back and tuck the tailbone under. Kind of like a weird thing to think about doing. We're trying to get the front of this hip to stretch out. And then switch sides. So you're doing that twice on each side. Big split stance. I'm gonna lean back and then think about like tucking the tailbone under. You can get a huge stretch in that leg. 2 of those on each side. Do the lean back first. And then think about like concaving the stomach, tucking the tailbone under. Same thing, other side. Last thing. I don't know about you guys, but I'm in my garage and it's very hot. What is wrong with the heat? Nice job, guys. Well done, everybody. Thanks for coming. I'll see you guys next Wednesday with Allison. It'll be fun. Nice work.